Good afternoon, good evening. My name is Sara Ayman Metwalli. I'm a graduate student at TokyoTech. Has anyone here ever heard of TokyoTech? Wow, more than I thought. Yay. We're going to talk about TokyoTech in a couple of minutes. I'm a teaching assistant in the online education development office in TokyoTech. And today I'm going to talk with you about the data analysis we did for the first MOOC that TokyoTech produced on the edX platform. So this is how the presentation is going to go. First, I'm going to talk a little bit about TokyoTech, and then I'm going to give what's the objective of the data analysis, what question we were trying to answer by this data analysis. And after that, I'm going to talk about a little bit about what kind of data can we know from edX Insights, which I'm sure all of you already know. And then some additional data analysis we did on the discussion board. And finally, I'm going to give discussion and conclusion. So first of all, TokyoTech. So TokyoTech is in Tokyo, Japan, or obviously it's called TokyoTech. So there are 3 campuses on Tokyo. The main campus is in a place called Okayama. So this is the main campus. It's a big campus. There is another campus in Yokohama called Suzuka Kadai. Do you know Yokohama? It's very popular in Japan. And there is a new campus called Tamachi. It's a very new campus, so it's very small. So TokyoTech was built 135 years ago, based on a Japanese concept called monetsukuri. Monetsukuri, it's Japanese words, mean to make something yourself, which basically means engineering. So it was built to educate and train engineers. At first, it was Tokyo Institute of Technology. Then it became the National University Corporation Tokyo Institute of Technology, but we call it TokyoTech because it's a very long name. So TokyoTech has 5,100 students. Among those students, 920 are international students. TokyoTech offers both undergraduate and graduate courses. However, the undergraduate courses are all offered in Japanese. The graduate ones are offered both in Japanese and English. TokyoTech in Japan, TokyoTech is considered to be the MIT of Japan. Back to the main topic, MOOCs. So I think everyone knows that MOOCs is massive open online courses. What I want to talk about today is MOOCs dropouts. So although MOOCs popularity is rapidly increasing these days, it still suffers from a high dropout rate, which is larger than 75% per MOOC. Researchers had noticed that most of the people who enroll in MOOCs usually don't complete it. And a lot of research has been done to answer the question, why do people drop out of MOOC? So, among these researchers, people find these variables that may affect MOOC dropouts. Here we have 3 categories or 3 kind of variables. The first 2 are for the learners, or it depends on the learners. So we have personal variables and circumstantial variables. Those are for the learner, like the demographics or the individual aspects of the learner or the prior education experiences. It also institutional instruction and external interactions of the learner. The third one, the institutional variable, this is for the institution offering the MOOC, like the academic aspect, the structure of this institution, and the bureaucratic aspects like the policy and the funding of this institution. Some institution has better funding, so hence they have better MOOCs offered. A lot of case studies has been done to try to answer why people drop out of MOOCs by MIT, Duke, Harvard, and Stanford for sure. Among the reasons they found are those 7. The first one is no intention to complete the MOOC. This specific reason is known through the pre- and post surveys for the MOOC. So most of the people, they start a MOOC with no intention to finish it. They may don't have time to finish it. The course is very difficult. They didn't expect it to be that difficult, so they drop out. They had bad experiences from previous MOOCs. Some people complain that they are being attacked on discussion boards or not being supported by the staff offering the MOOC, so they drop out the MOOC. Wrong expectation is the reason. Some people just read the abstract of the MOOC and they think it's going to be about something, and then it turned out to be about something else. So since it's not what they want, they drop out of the MOOC. It's also been found that late starters drop out of the MOOC more because they found it hard to keep up with the MOOC and the people who already started from the beginning of the MOOC. And finally, peer review. So it was found that courses with peer review have higher dropout rates than the one that hasn't, because students feel like if there's peer review, like they feel like they need to like make extra effort in order to criticize each other or review each other. So they drop out because, well, they're lazy. They don't want extra work. So about TokyoTech's first MOOC. TokyoTech's first MOOC was called Introduction to Deep Earth Science Part 1. This MOOC was it was a geology MOOC basically. It talks about the nature and dynamics of the Earth core. So, a little information about the course. It's very important to know that this course was designed and prepared in Japanese. So it was fully in Japanese, like the professor made the plan in Japanese and everything. And then this course was translated into English to make it a MOOC. This course was 4 weeks long, and the effort was 2 to 3 hours a week. The total enrollment of the course was 5,403, and the number of people who finished the course were 296 students. So the question we try to answer using this data analysis is, can the data we obtain from edX Insights alone predict why people dropped out of this particular MOOC? And to answer this data, we collected the data from edX Insights, like the enrollment, engagement, and performance, and try to identify a relationship between this data to like guess why people dropped out of this MOOC and compare these things with the published work that already exist. Before we get into this, an online education development office, this is how this MOOC was created. As you can see, TAs was very much involved in like 100% of the MOOC creation and production. The instructor has only like the video shooting, the lectures, and the course design. The staff was more for the bureaucratic stuff, like the institutional stuff and the copyrights and stuff like that. Deep Earth Science had 2 main video types. This is important because we're going to use this later in the data analysis. So there was 2 main video types. There was video lectures where the professor was explaining something, for example. Okay, not for
it's more complicated.
I'm sorry, let's do it again.
On the other hand, the formation of granite is more complicated.
And there was non-lecture videos, and it has 2 types. There was type called coffee breaks. That type where the professor and the students like had coffee together and talk about some content either related to the course or not.
I like the traveling much from when I was very young. And
the other type was experiments or additional academic videos. So this is like an overview of Deep Earth Science. After that, I'm going to talk about the data that we can know from edX Insights directly, which I'm sure all of you have seen before. We can know the age of the people who enrolled in the course. The average age of the people enrolled in this specific MOOC was 29 years old. We can know the education level of the people who enrolled in the MOOC. we can know the gender. From this graph, we can see like 2/3 of the people who enrolled are male, while 1/3 is female. We also can know the geography of the people who enrolled in the MOOC. This graph shows the top 10 countries, and there's unknown here, but we'll ignore that, but the top 10 countries that had the highest enrollment of this MOOC. From here, we notice that 42% of the people who enrolled in the MOOC either native English speakers or English is spoken highly in their countries. This is also from edX Insights. Just we zoomed in to the 4 weeks of the MOOC. Here we can see the graph showing the weekly engagement of students. We can see active students, the first line up, and then people who watched the first video of the first week of the week, and then who tried the problem in the week. This graph does not tell us much. That's why the TAs try to make a graph similar to that, but with more information. They draw one based on age, the weekly engagement of students based on age. Now, this is a bit much not clear. Let's zoom into the 4 week of the MOOC. So if you look with me here, you can see that the highest dropout rate was in the age of 20s and 30s, which is actually very funny if you considered it. Like, we thought that maybe if we had more students in the age of 60s or 50s, then the dropout rate maybe will decrease. So this graph was very much similar to this one. This one was published by Dr. Phil Hill. He studies dropout in MOOCs. Dr. Phil, he showed that students in MOOCs are mainly divided into 4 criteria: the no-shows, the auditing, the completing, and the sampling. The no-shows are the people who register for the MOOC, but they never show up again. The auditing, the people who focus on the first week or 2 of the MOOC, but then they drop out and they disappear. The completing kind are the people who actually enroll the MOOC with the intention to complete this MOOC. And he divided this type into 2, passive and active. The active one is the people who watch all the videos and solve all the problems and exams and do everything. The passive kind is the one who watch the videos, but they don't solve any problem or they don't do anything. So they just watch all the videos for the MOOC. And there is the sampling. He defined the sampling as people who watch specific videos. So they come in after the MOOC is complete and they watch specific videos to gain specific information they want. They don't want the whole information. They are just searching for something in particular. Okay. So after that, this all is like a general information I'm going to need, because after that we're going to talk about the specifics or the meanings of these things in the data analysis we did. So there's something called in-video dropout. This is of course based on a paper that's published about in-video dropouts in MOOC. They define the in-video dropout as the number of students who start watching a video in a MOOC but they don't complete it. And they analyze the videos based on these factors. On types, is it a lecture, is it a break video, is it an experiment, is it an additional academic video? And the video length and the presentation methodology, is it a headshot, is it a slide, is it a Khan Academy method? And first-timers and rewatchers. It's the student watching the video for the first time, or he's rewatching to gain specific information. This graph is also from this paper. This one, the one here on the left side, shows the video length versus the in-video dropout rate. As you can see here, the longer the video, the higher the dropout rate. I think that edX said that the optimal video length is 10 minutes, but as you can see from this graph, even in 10 minutes, we have dropout rate 60%. So even if it's 10 minutes, people will most probably drop in the video. This graph, the one in the bottom, shows the difference between people who's watching the video for the first time and people who's rewatching to get more information or to solve a quiz or to do anything. So as you can see here, the dropout rate, the black dots is for the rewatchers. So the in-video dropout rate for the rewatcher is much higher which makes sense because they don't want to watch the whole video. They're just seeking specific information. Back to deep earth science. This graph shows the difference between the in-video dropout rate between the lecture videos and the non-lecture videos. I said that there are two kinds of lecture. Remember the lecture, two types of videos in deep earth science, the lecture one and the non-lecture one. So as you can see here, the lecture videos had lower in-video dropout rate than the non-lecture ones. This is in general, like we took the videos of each week and we get the average for the lecture videos and the average for the non-lecture videos and draw this graph. This is focused more on 2 videos of the, 2 weeks of the MOOC, the second and the last week of the MOOC. The black circles shows the non-lecture videos and the red ones shows the lecture videos. Also, you can see here that the lecture videos has lowest video in dropout rate. And also you can see here like there is 2 red dots that has somewhat low in video dropout rate compared to the other red circles. These 2 dots are, one of them is the professor was answering a questions asked by the students in the previous week discussion board, and the other one was an introduction. It was a very short video, it was 35 seconds, so I think they didn't have time to drop out, so they just finished it. So what we got from the video analysis, we found that the students focused more on the lecture videos and some of them did not even watch the non-lecture one. And the introduction and conclusion of the week usually did not have much attendance from the students. Another thing we can know from edX Insight is the students' performance to the graded and ungraded content of the course, as you can see here. Also in edX, there's a new thing that you can know the video, like how many people viewed the video in each minute of the video and the replays of the video. We try to find a relation between the replays and the quizzes questions. So this is an example of some of the on a graded quiz from one of the weeks. We draw that see here, like video number 4 has very high replay rate, which is here is the peak in the blue one. So we found that this video has the answer. This particular minute or this particular part of the video has the answer of this particular question in the graded quiz. So we found similar graphs in another videos, which showed us like people most probably replay the video to answer the quiz's question. Okay, so what we found out that people watched the main lectures and the replays were also in the main lectures. Like in the non-lecture videos, the replays were very small and some videos did not have replays at all. And the ungraded quizzes of the course had more attempts. The second one is for a reason that for the ungraded quizzes, they had unlimited trial. They can try it till they get the correct answer. However, for the graded one, they had only one try, either wrong or right. So it makes sense that the other one has more correct rate because they kept trying till they get the correct answer. Last thing I'm going to talk about is the discussion board analysis. This you can't know from edX Insight. It does not provide anything about discussion boards, but researcher has studied discussion board. So from this graph here, this one in the middle shows the discussion, and as you can see, like we had here this blue or light blue and purple. It shows that most of the people in the course, like 75% of the students, they never use the discussion board or they rarely use it during the course, which means only 9% are the people who use the discussion board on a weekly basis. And these 9% are most probably the active students who actually engage in the course. In the graph by Dr. Filher, they're most probably the completing active kind of students. To analyze the discussion boards, the TAs created a database that has everything related to the discussion board. the posts, when it was posted, the content of the post, who posted it, who answered it, everything related, whether or not it was answered, if it was answered by the professor or one of the TAs, everything related to the discussion board posts. This particular MOOC had 366 posts. 295 of them were answered, while 71 was unanswered. Answered include the replies, even in the discussion board, like some TA or the professor get in the discussion board and reply the question, or the professor actually made it in a video. The professor made a video each week answering some questions that were asked from the week before. We also find they also categorized the topics or the posts in the discussion board based on the topic. Like we have, first of all, the total is 366, as we said in the previous slide. And we have like some posts that had course content, that had like 200. And some was opinion, people complaining about something, people have to complain. Some had additional info, some student post additional information related to the course material. And there is a weekly topic. The student the TA responsible for the discussion board each week proposed a topic to make a community, to make the student communicate with each other. And that was like 60 posts. And there are others. Others included some, well, angry posts and some not related to the course posts. So to summarize up to everything we said, so first of all, we wanted to know what we can know from inside directly and what we can know from insights data plus some additional analysis. So regarding the MOOC's dropout rate or completion rate, we can know from edX insights the weekly engagement and the number of the people who enrolled in the course and the number of people who finished it. By using additional analysis, we found out that this course has a dropout rate of 76%. And we found out that if we had more students in the 60s range of age, the dropout rate will actually decrease. So yeah, we want older students. As for the video materials and in-video dropout, from edX Insight, we can see the interaction of the student to the video materials, like the replays, how many watch the videos. By using additional data analysis, we can see that the in-video dropout rate is higher than the non-lecture video. And the graded content, we find also from edX Insights, we can know how many people got the correct answer and how many did not. Using additional analysis, we can know that the people replied the video or the lecture videos to get the answers for the questions. And finally, the discussion board. edX Insight does not, well, so far, provide any discussion board analysis, but using the database the TAs created, we know that only few students use the discussion board. So, what insights can tell us, or what will be helpful if insight can do? So, insights cannot provide any information about the enrollee's native language. Because this course, as I mentioned, was fully designed and prepared in Japanese, we thought that maybe the language was an issue that made students drop out. But of course, this is a speculation. One does not know for sure if it's actually the language or not. The second point is it does not tell us the demographics or any information about the students who actually completed or dropped out of the MOOC. And finally, it does not give us a clear analysis of the discussion board post. Like it doesn't say how many people, like among those people who finished the course, the people who completed the course, how many of those people actually used the discussion board and how many didn't. So, regarding the graphs and data I used, these are the papers I got it from. I would like to thank Professor Ida Roll from UBC and Dr. Cassandra Hori from Caltech and my fellow TAs who helped me make this data analysis. Thank you. This is all. Thank you. So, any questions? Suggestion, discussion you want to?
I think in the list of categories of persistence factors that you showed at the beginning, there was one category which I feel is a bit irrelevant to MOOC students when it comes to institutional variables. There was another category which I believe might be at important play, which has to do with volition and self-regulation capacity, like how can students, and this is by out of the data that we have from Stanford groups, from pre and post-course surveys. So you got many people who intend to complete the course at the beginning, and then when they actually drop out, they don't report environmental factors or course difficulties, but just merely the fact that the MOOC is not something obligatory, and people tend to drop out from non-obligatory activities that have delayed gratification. So I think that could be something interesting to look at as well.
Yes, of course. As I mentioned, this was from a paper, so I took what they say. But what you said is interesting. There was another research about obligation, and there was the university that offered 2 MOOCs, one with support from the staff and professor, and it cost money, and one was free, and they compared the dropout rates between both, and weirdly enough, it was the same. So even when people paid, they did not feel they're obligated to finish the MOOC. They actually dropped out anyway. So even money is not an obligation. So, yeah. Okay.
When you looked at the people who hosted or who used the discussions, I'm just curious how you define using the discussions. Are you looking at people who actively posted or people who encountered and read the discussions?
We considered the people who posted, and if some student replied, the database the TAs created, they stated that student replied, but I didn't take it in consideration, but it's there. Thank you.
So what is the definition of student who finished the course? Who finished the course? Definition of student.
Who took the last question of the last exam in the last week. And who applied for a certificate, most of them. So there are 17 students who applied for a certificate, and the rest is people who finished the final exam of the MOOC. And they made the BOS survey. They also filled the BOS survey.
I'm curious about the content of this course. Is the video the main delivery? Through the content delivered mainly by the video, or there are also some other, for example, reading material. So, how many percentage is mainly delivered through the video?
There was some reading materials, but the video was the main thing. Like 80% was the video and 20% was.
And what is the sum of the video length in the course?
I think the longer one was 13 minutes.
And the sum?
The summer.
All videos.
I don't know, honestly. I don't know all of them. No, I don't know. Yes.
Since you already got some conclusions about possible result dropout rate, and do you plan to do some improvement? And based on conclusions, maybe relaunch the course again?
Yes, of course we are. We notice, like, for example, from the video replies, we can see why the student may want additional, where the student may want additional information that the professor did not say in the video. In the discussion board, we can know now how to engage students more, what attracted them and what not. This kind of stuff will help us in future MOOCs. Hopefully, it will help us improve the dropout rate, but again, it's not guaranteed.
Usually, when you have the chance to reach out to the students directly and ask them, it's usually more, it's better guaranteed to get useful and actual information than trying to predict from the data. And so there are like maybe 15 or more prediction models that can tell you early in the course who's going to read and who's not.
Yes.
And it's interesting to give people, surveys while they're still in the course. Maybe you can really engage them that way, or learn from them about what exactly they found to be implemented.
Yes, we did that.
Yeah.
we did. Thank you.
Have you published content at once or bi-weekly?
Again, sorry.
Have you published at once all the content of all of course, or bi-week, first week and second?
Yes, weekly.
Weekly.
Yes.
It will come back later.
Okay. So, are there any other questions?
How were discussions used in the course? Like, were they used kind of as part of directed learning activities where you told them to use discussion, or were they just put in for if they wanted to discuss something that's interested in that learning?
Well, we did not tell them to use the discussion boards. The TAs suggested a topic each week which were not related to the course. It was like introduce yourself, tell us about your country, something like that to engage the students. However, we did not tell them that they have to use the discussion board. But students, if they had questions, they posted on the discussion boards.
No, I remember the question.
Okay.
Earlier, I saw the participants' background. It seems that some of them have master's degree, some of the lower end didn't have much education. So do you think that make the impact on the dropout rate, or do you guys plan to say kind of like the content is target for certain kind of audience?
Well, I think it did make an impact, of course, but we cannot also know for sure because we don't know exactly the degree of education that the people who completed the course actually held. So we cannot tell for sure that because the course was too tough for them, they didn't complete. But I'm pretty sure it do have an impact. It does.
Or is there a target audience that the content is to watch it?
I think the target audience were people in the university, freshmen. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.